All right, so this is going to be a little tutorial to see how you can make chords on the M8 using internal MIDI routing. And it's just a way to get more sounds out of your M8, more chords specifically, without having to only exclusively rely on the Hypersynth or the FM Synth. So let's start off by thinking about what sound we actually want to use, what sound we want to make a chord out of. So I'm going to create this chain 20 that's off of my main grid, off the main track. It's just for us to test the sound out. Let's see, this instrument number 20, let's start off with, yeah, okay, Avracadabра's Ice Piano FM. Super nice sounding, super cool. All right, so let's say I want to make a chord out of this. So that was instrument 20. Now, what we need to do is go back to the part of the track that's actually going to be played right here in my chain number 10, phrase 10. I have instrument 10. Let's go into this instrument. I am going to set this to MIDI out. We have to make sure that our port is set to 3 internal, and channel, I'm going to set this to 2. I'll show you exactly why this matters in just a moment. If you try to plus, well, I guess it's already it's already working because I had some stuff already set up. But if you didn't have this stuff set up when you pressed play, this instrument would be muted. You wouldn't be hearing much, which is probably like this, which was happening because the channel was set to the wrong place. But now the channel is set to 2, it is making sound, and I'm going to show you why it's making sound. So let's go up here to the project view and go into MIDI settings. All right, so here at the bottom part of the page, we have these eight groups of numbers, and this is information of how the MIDI data is going to be handled for each one of the 8 tracks. Before we mess around with that, let's just make sure that we head down here to mode and set that to poly. And now let's say that we want to use tracks 2, 3, 4, and 5 to be like playing the sounds. Track number 1 is going to be controlling, it's going to be sending the information out, but no sound is going to come out really from channel 1. Let's say that we actually want sound to come out from tracks 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I'm going to set these guys here, the channel of these, to number 2. Because remember that we were setting the MIDI out instrument to output info to channel 2. This is where that information comes in. These tracks here are like expecting information to come from MIDI track number 2. And I also want to set all of these tracks to play instrument number 20, which is that pretty sounding piano FM. So now let's go back down here, go into phrase 10 where this is being played. And again, I press play, and if you see here all the way on the right of the screen, to the right of my cursor, where like all of the little tracks are, the keys that are being played on each track is shown vertically on the right, you can see that track number 1 is playing a C4 and track number 2 is playing a C4. That's because, like I said a moment ago, track number 1 is just is silent, but it's sending information out. You see it on the right here, but no volume is actually exiting channel 10. So now let's stop that for a moment and let's start having some fun, because here is where stuff gets really interesting, where we get into the effects and making chords. We can actually make the chords that we want to make. The 2 effects that we can use are this chord effect or this add effect. I'm going to start off with the chord one because this is, I think, a little bit easier to understand. This is you get to add 2 new notes to whatever note is being played here on the left on the notes column. So here, the idea is that you are able to make up to a 3-note chord. So let's say I want to make this sound here, a 4 and a 7. The first digit on the left, it dictates the offset for the first note, and the second digit, the one on the right, dictates the offset of the second note. So a chord 4/7. I think that's a major chord. I think that's a major chord. I'm not. I don't understand music. Um, but there you go. If you look here on the right, you can see that now tracks 2, 3, and 4 are playing sounds. They're playing notes and they're playing sounds here on the volume mixer. So basically, that's it. You made a chord, and you can use this to change the chords to whatever you want, right? So that's one way of making chords. The other one is the add effect. So this one, it just adds one note at a time, but you can go up indefinitely with this guy. You can keep on going up crazy amounts, and you can go down as well. It's relative to whatever note is being played here, and it kind of like you can add this later. Yeah, so here, right, if you set it with a little bit of an offset, you can actually hear the first one fading off, but the second one coming in later, and still having its full envelope and stuff. So really cool stuff, right, on how to build these guys. It's really simple. You can start getting really fancy and like go to tables and stuff. So let me give you an example of how we could do this. Let's say I want to do that, like that major chord stuff here, right? I'm putting this in the table effect. So now every single note that gets played, that effect gets activated. So I can just go here, and I don't even have to put the effect here anymore, right? Because the effect is already being added to the table, to that instrument's table. If you want to get really fancy, you can like clone the instrument, and then like edit the instrument. And then you have like different chords for different instruments. This gets kind of difficult to remember which instrument had which chord on it. My memory is terrible, so I wouldn't be able to know how to do this. But I wouldn't be able to keep track of it. It can be kind of taxing on your memory, and if you come back to a project 3 days later, yeah, it's it can be tricky to remember stuff like this. The other really cool thing about this is that this respects the scale command. These chord offsets, they respect the scale command. So let's say that I am forcing the global scale to be C major. I don't have that guy anymore. Okay, so let's say that I'm forcing the scale to be C major, right? So now when I see, I only have the white notes on the keyboard, right? A B C D E F and G. Shows you how much I know about music. I started with A, not C. Tisk tisk. Anyways, so here. Once you add these, once you've set the global scale or like a local scale with the scale command, it'll be the same thing. The deltas that you see here, the increments, the intervals, they're already following the scale. So look at the little the piano layout on the right. So CHD 1 2, it's actually moving 2 semitones up for the first note and another 2 semitones up for the second note. Even though this just says chord 1 2, it's because it's one interval up within the scale of C major. So yeah, this is a really easy way to really easy way to make chords in the Dirtywave M8 using any kind of sound and instrument you want. You don't have to be just linked and to Hypersynth or the FM Synth and doing the shenanigans you need to do to get chords off of there, which, like I said before, I am not smart enough to do. That is it for this little tutorial, homies. I'll see y'all later. Peace.